Okay, I have 6:30 p.m. and I'm going to call the Newport City Council meeting to order for Monday, January 11th, 2021, 6:30 p.m. This is a remote meeting. Participating remotely, City Council President Dan Ross, City Council Member Kevin Charbonneau, Melissa Pedersen, and John Wilson. They are all connected remotely. In the City Council room is our City Manager Laura Dogan, City Clerk Treasurer James Johnson, Fire Chief John Harlemert, and I believe Tom Bernier was going to be joining him in the City Council room. Jess Booth is also joining us remotely. She is our Recreation Director. And with that, I will move on to item number 2, which is to approve the minutes of January 4th, 2021, and I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Wilson moves to approve the minutes of 4 January 2021.
A motion made by Mr. Wilson to approve the minutes of January 4th, 2021. Is there a second to the motion?
Kevin Charbonneau, I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Made by Mr. Wilson, seconded by Mr. Charbonneau. Any discussion on the minutes?
Dan Ross.
Yes?
I'm not sure, but I was under the impression that we did approve the December 21 minutes at the last meeting. And the way it's written in here, it's talking about the motions being withdrawn and not that the approval was given.
Mr. Mayor?
I think Jim brought it, Mr. Ross, I think I'm looking at the second page, and I think he put it on the second page, actually on the old business.
Okay, I see it. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Wilson. Is that what you were going to say?
I was just going to say it was conducted under old business.
Yeah, yeah. And so, any other questions on the minutes? Then, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. The next item is comments by members of the public. This is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items not on the agenda.
I'm not shown, but it says maybe.
None.
I guess there are none. Okay, we will move on. The next item is the water tower indebtedness necessity resolution in form of ballot vote. And I will turn this over to the city manager to go over it. And Mr. Johnson, City Clerk Treasurer, is also present to answer questions regarding the ballot item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What you have before you is the bond document that needs to be approved by the City Council this evening so that we can move forward with the bond vote for the water tower planned for the east side of the city. There is a schedule of events that need to happen once the council approves the resolution and the warning and the ballot, which is in your packet tonight, that has been posted on our website. Then we'll record the resolution and record the warning. We will be hosting 2 public informational hearings. The first one will be scheduled for February 8th. The second one will be scheduled for March 1st. And unless you have any specific questions, this is the normal process in order to be able to put an article on the ballot.
Are there questions from City Council members?
No.
Then I would actually entertain a motion to approve the documents. One document, if approved tonight, the members of the council will have to go to the clerk's office to sign it. That is the resolution. So that's one thing that I just wanted to remind everybody, just like the loan documents that we had the previous signed recently, we have to go to the clerk's office and sign this resolution. And with that, I would entertain a motion.
Dan Ross here. I will make a motion to approve the resolution of necessity for capital construction project, and also to approve the official ballot as shown.
Okay, a motion made by Mr. Ross. Is there a second?
Mr. Wilson will second.
Seconded by Mr. Wilson. Discussion. There is one. The informational meetings would be held before the regularly scheduled council meeting, correct, Laura?
Yes.
Okay. Other questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead. Oh, please state your names for the record.
Sure, I'm Ann Chiarello, and I'm a resident of Newport. And I'd like to know how any of the council members can approve the $5 million bond that you're going to be putting on the ballot for us to approve without knowing how much it will cost for us to have a new water tower, without knowing how much additional operating costs there are, how much additional maintenance costs there are, how much of order interest is going to be paid per year, how much principal you're going to be paying per year, just the order of magnitude of these sums per year that will then be added to the water budget, and that all of the people who pay for their metered water or otherwise are going to have to pay. So before you vote on this item, I think you should know how much this thing is going to cost us per year.
What the hell is going on?
I can't hear you.
Are you muted?
I'm sorry, I kept myself muted. I apologize. I was coughing, and so I try to keep myself muted. I've got a touch of a cold. I was saying, Laura, maybe you could come on and answer some of the questions. I know the total bond that we're asking for is not to exceed the $4,985,000, and potentially up to, I believe, 40% could be through a grant from USDA, so that could lower the amount of the actual bonding. And so the number they would give you for a payment on the loan would, as of tonight, would have to be based upon the $4,985,000. Am I correct, Laura?
You're absolutely correct. There's really not much more to add at this particular time. That's one of the reasons we're having the informational hearings on the 8th and the 1st. And more information is coming. That's really all we can say at this particular point. And this is the normal process, and everybody has the normal amount of information that's available at this stage in the bond vote process.
Okay, other questions from anyone on the call this evening? Then at this time, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Will. All those opposed? The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the updated Prouty Beach seasonal agreement review and a vote. Just to give a little background, a committee was set up. It was made up of campers, the recreation director. I was a member of the committee, and we reviewed. This is the same type of setup that was done for the city dock when the agreement at the dock was reviewed and updated, and Mr. Charbonneau oversaw that committee when that agreement was redone, and so decided to set up a committee to redo the seasonal application for Prouty Beach. And myself being a member, I'll be upfront, I was a new camper this year, and I thought it was very helpful to be part of the committee, just to give them my point of view as a new person in the camping world. And they had some long-time seasonal members, I believe the Walkers, who have been, I think Jess can correct me, but I think they've been at Prouty Beach for, 30 years maybe, 20, 30 years, were members of the committee. And it was a good committee, and there was good discussion. And so with that's just a little background. I'm going to turn it over to Jess to just kind of go over the agreement.
Yeah, so the mayor's correct. We had the Walkers on there who had been there for, I think 25 or 30 years. We had a camper that's been there for 6 years, I believe. Another one who was there this was their first year, and was also a member of the rec committee. A campground host, someone that's been our campground host, and then we had another staff member who oversees the ticket booth and the administrative side of Prouty Beach. So it was a pretty well-rounded committee, and we went through a variety of topics, and there was, I believe I sent everyone the minutes on that, but basically our goal was to bring ourselves closer to what other campgrounds have, and just lay out expectations a little bit more clearly. The previous agreement, I guess if you can even call it that we have with the campers, was like a one-page letter essentially that was just giving them payment due dates and had maybe 2 or 3 pieces of information on there. So this is definitely long overdue, and I think it will be good to sort of get everything all written out and answer a lot of questions for campers.
And just correct me if I'm wrong, but it was basically to bring the campground in alignment with the dock regarding your deposits and payment and the payment schedule.
Yeah, a little bit of that also, yeah. So in the past we had been chasing people around for money all the way through, up to the summertime into July on occasions. And we had the same issue with docks a few years ago. And it's really hard to fill your seasonal slips if somebody doesn't end up coming. And so by backing the payment due date back to February, then if somebody's not coming back next summer, then we can start to work down that wait list. And I'm sure you guys all remember the legendary 80-person long wait list that we had at Prouty Beach. A lot of times when we call people, when we have an available site, it's not until May. At that point, they've already given their money to another campground, so they ask to stay on the list for future calls. But so we hope that this will serve 2 purposes, to whittle down that list and to help us just administratively have the same deadlines for all of our seasonal stuff.
Questions from council members?
Mr. Mayor, can I just make a comment? Being a person who has never in her entire life spent a night in a campground, I read through it with interest, and I was quite amazed at how thorough it was. It never occurred to me a number of the issues that were, not issues, but things that could come up and how to address them. So it was an interesting read, again, from somebody who has never spent a night in a campground. And I commend the committee for what appears to me to be very diligent and thorough work.
There was a lot of discussion on our meetings. I missed one, and I had to cut one slightly short, but one of them, I think we were there for over 2 hours, almost 3 hours, just going through every detail of the agreement, discussing pros and cons, and people brought feedback from being at other campgrounds throughout the country and around the region, and so I felt it was a real good discussion. Do you have anything to add?
No, I agree. You know, I'll admit that when we did the dock agreement the first time, we did it in a little bit of a vacuum, and did not include, you know, our seasonals that have been there for a while. We sort of did what we saw other marinas doing. And this, you know, version of the exercise is so much better, not only for us to have a better understanding of what they need from us, but also just to help vet the process and make sure that they're represented, you know, so that we don't run into problems. It's just so much of a better, you know, version of work and work product.
I agree. Other questions from City Council members or comments? Then, with that, I guess I would entertain a motion to approve the agreement, the modified, the updated Prouty Beach seasonal agreement.
Melissa, I'll move to approve the updated Prouty Beach seasonal agreement.
Motion made by Melissa Pedersen. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead and second it.
Okay, I saw Dan's lips moving, but he was on mute still.
Dan was on mute, I think, but so I'll count Mr. Wilson. Okay, so a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on it?
I think the process went very well. And when you have a committee and it involves the people that are actually there and they know what's going on, it's a much smoother process, and the final outcome is usually much better. So thank you much for the way you did this.
Great. I agree, Dan. Other discussion or comments? Then all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. The next item is to authorize the city attorney to conduct a tax sale. And I'll ask the city manager to...
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
6.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I had my thumb over it. That's what happens when I'm sitting here. Yep. Thank you. The next item is the custodian job description update, but I'll have the city manager address that also.
Yes. As our staff who have been here for decades chooses to retire, I've been reviewing the job descriptions and trying to keep them updated with current best HR practices. And as some of you may have heard, Bob has, after 16 very nice years, decided it's time for him to retire as well. So what I've put in the council packet is a draft job description following the same format as the previous descriptions that you've recently updated. And once you approve that, we will circulate this internally and externally for a couple of weeks. I believe it's going to be a desirable position, so we want to make sure we have a good recruitment tool.
Questions from council members?
Dan Ross.
Go ahead, Dan.
I only have one question, and that's about the CDL. You know, what particular need is there for the maintenance person to have a CDL for the work that's being done now?
Yep. We did advance the job description in order to have all public works employees in alignment with having a CDL. Our reasoning for that is that our contract prohibits anybody who is not a member of the union to do road plowing. When we have huge storms where we're inundated and even the director of public works or our non-union foreman has to get behind the wheel and plow, that can cause some problems for us that we don't want to incur. So if we can start making all the job descriptions uniform with everybody on the same level, that gives us some advantage that we don't currently have.
Other questions regarding the job description?
Well, I had, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Wilson, under examples of duties and responsibilities, the second one down, I was reading it, we have practice required safety and then practices. I thought that's spelt wrong with an ISE, but that's the English variation of ICE. So I don't have any problem with that because I sometimes put U in labor and arbor and stuff like that. The next row down, maintain an updated SDS. SDS.
Safety data sheet. Safety data sheet. So when we use cleansers or any kind of products, we have to put everything in a binder and make sure if there is some sort of hazard or problem, we know exactly how to clean it up.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And actually, John, since you brought that up, it's a trick question because a qualified applicant would know automatically what that stands for, and that's part of the test of getting a good candidate. So you're on it.
Thank you.
Other questions regarding the job description? Then, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the updated custodian job description.
Mr. Mayor, this is Kevin Charbonneau.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the updated job description for the custodian.
Motion made by Mr. Charbonneau. Is there a second?
Melissa, I'll second.
Made by Mr. Charbonneau, seconded by Ms. Pedersen. Any further discussion? Then all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. And now moving on to item number 7. Authorize the city attorney to conduct the tax sale. And I'll let Laura address that issue.
Yes, our city charter requires us to hold 2 tax sales a year. With our current process, we've been able to hold 1 tax sale a year. I come before the council each January to get the process going. It is a process. It takes about 4 to 6 months to hold a tax sale. And this is my usual request. Last year we started the process in January and bumped into financial constraints for our taxpayers as a result of COVID. We suspended the tax sale in the middle and then resumed it after our audit described a very different concerning scenario. So we finished that tax sale and now it's time to start another one.
Questions from council members? Then if there are no questions, I would entertain a motion to authorize the city attorney to conduct the tax sale.
Dan Ross, I'll make that motion to authorize the attorney to do a tax sale.
Motion made by Mr. Ross. Is there a second?
Mr. Wilson will second.
Made by Mr. Ross, seconded by Mr. Wilson. Discussion? Then all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. The next item is the DRB resignation acceptance. There was a letter written December 9th, 2020. Attention, Eric Vogelin. Effective immediately, please accept this letter as my resignation from the Development Review Board. Thank you. Sincerely, Denise Bowen. And we would need a motion to accept her resignation.
Move to accept Denise Bowen's resignation from the DRB.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Mr. Wilson, second.
Made by Ms. Pedersen, seconded by Mr. Wilson. Discussion?
This is Mr. Wilson. I'd like to thank Denise Bowen for what she's done because she's been on that board for a long time.
I agree. She's been a very steady member and attended all the meetings, and yes, she was a very dedicated member of the DRB.
Yes, thank you.
Any other discussion or comments? Then all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Moving on to new business. Mine is kind of new old business. I had a request this morning, from several people who wish to form a committee. I emailed the council about it. It's a committee regarding the grandstand. They saw the article in the VT Digger, and they saw, and so they contacted me about setting up a committee to look at the existing grandstand, to look at whether it can be refurbished or what it would take to, if I had to build a new one. The person who contacted me was Roger Carty, and he said that he had a couple people already willing to serve on a committee with him. As you know, Roger was an active ball player and very active at Gardner Park, and so I am all in favor of having a committee set up to review this. And I just wanted to bring that up under new business. And that's it for me for new business. Let me see. Now, the only other new business is council members got a letter that I wrote today, and a letter of support for the airport that was addressed to the National Weather Service. It was a letter requesting they call it a TAF forecast, Terminal Aerodrome Forecast for the airport. It just helps with the future expansion, current and future operations of the airport. And so I sent that along. I finished it this afternoon and sent it along to the council because there's a very active committee working on and at the airport for current and future expansion and operations. And so I just wanted to pass that along to the council. Okay, I'll move on. Mr. Ross, any new business?
No.
Mr. Charbonneau.
I just want to say I agree with you that if there is a way to form a committee and look at possibly restoring the bandstand, but also will our insurance allow us to keep it in place, or what will we have to ensure that it's not a hazard to park members?
Well, the money to demolish it is not in the budget until fiscal year 21-22, so it wouldn't really be until July of this year. So between now and July, this committee could do a lot of work in determining determining the state of the grandstand.
Excellent. I hope they can find some way to revitalize it.
That's correct. I think the names that were proposed to me on it are very enthusiastic folks who have a lot of history with the grandstand and Newport and the Gardner Park. And so, any other new business, Mr. Charbonneau?
No.
Okay. Ms. Pedersen?
No new business.
Mr. Wilson?
No new business.
Ms. Dogan?
No new business.
Mr. Johnson?
No new business.
Okay. We'll move on. Old business. I don't have any. Mr. Ross?
No old business.
Okay. Mr. Charbonneau?
No old business.
Ms. Pedersen?
No.
Mr. Wilson?
No old business.
Ms. Dogan?
No, thank you.
Mr. Johnson?
No old business.
I sound like a robot, don't I? Okay, the next scheduled council meeting, it wasn't on the agenda, is for Monday, January 25th. It's going to just be a very brief meeting to approve the annual warning. It has to be done so many days before town meeting. And so Monday, January 25th, I believe it would be at 6:30, Jim?
Yeah, that's fine. Or anytime the council wants to do it.
Do you want to, last year you did it at 4:30. Do you want to do it at 5 o'clock? Because that's...
If they can get here earlier, that'd be great.
You want to do, we're going to do it remotely, I'm assuming, again?
Yeah, but everybody has to come in and sign it the very next day. We got to get it in people.
Because it has to be signed by everybody.
So if everybody wants to come in at 5 o'clock, that's great with me. I don't have to come back at 6:30.
Okay, so that was the next meeting. And then the next full council meeting will be Monday, February 1st at 6:30 p.m.
Oh.
I just want to confirm, Mr. Mayor, that the Monday, January 25th warning meeting is scheduled at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And that is going to be done...
Okay? Let me just make sure, is that okay with council members?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my understanding is that it's going to be remote, but the council members will need to come in and sign it as soon as possible thereafter. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to confirm.
The next day.
Yeah, the council members will need to come in the very next day to sign that because we have such a tight timeline to get things warned.
In the morning.
In the morning. I'm just telling you what Jim's telling me.
Okay.
The morning.
Same thing with the resolution we just passed.
Oh, and same thing with the resolution for tomorrow, please. You need to come in and sign that right away because it also has to be posted.
And Jim, you're in your office at 7:30 in the morning, so we could pop in tomorrow morning before I go to work, or other people can possibly. So, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And I just wanted to let the members of the public know that there were some technical glitches at the beginning of this meeting, and therefore NEK-TV and everybody who was on originally on the meeting were booted. And so I made the effort to record the meeting, but I don't guarantee it'll be up for NEK-TV within the next couple of days, but I will get it to them as soon as I can. I don't normally record it for them, but I did this time, and it's going to be, it might be a couple of days before I can get it to them, because I have to go through and convert it from the format of free conference call to what they use. And so I just wanted to let everybody know before people think that it's not going to be posted online. And with that,
Mr. Mayor, thank you for that courtesy of doing that. I don't think that's necessarily in your job description, but thank you for doing it.
well, I had been doing it, and then because they had some technical issues, so I decided to help Todd out, and then it became kind of a burden, to be honest with everyone, run the meeting, tape the meeting, edit the meeting, prepare it for the proper format for television. And so Todd, they figured out their technical glitches, and they did record the last meeting, but unfortunately this evening, just to let everyone know, there were some glitches with the whole program, and everyone got booted. Even I got booted in the beginning, and so once I saw that they couldn't get back on, I decided to tape the meeting again, and I will get it to them as soon as I can. And with that, we do...
Mr. Mayor, I got one thing for the warning meeting on the 25th.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Is any way I can go see Mr. Johnson at, say, 16:30? Because the next day I've got to leave here at 5:30 in the morning to go down to Dartmouth-Hitchcock.
Actually, Mr. Wilson, I suppose during the meeting you could join Mr. Johnson up in the council room. We just can't we can't have a whole lot of people because of social distancing. But yeah. I'm sure, yeah, you could go and be part of the meeting in the council room, and that way you could sign the document right then and there.
Sounds good.
Because it's going to be at 1700 hours.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. And with that, we need a motion to adjourn at 7:06.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
A motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Wilson.
Made by Mr. Charbonneau, second by Mr. Wilson. Excuse me. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? We are adjourned.